All right, so today's presentation is on library resources for job seekers. The resources I'm going to show you today are complimentary for anyone who has a Carol Stream library card. If you don't have a library card with us, I encourage you to get one. If you live in incorporated Carol Stream, it's free. Otherwise, if you don't live in Carol Stream, please don't think that this isn't going to be useful to you because some of the resources I'm going to show you today are available at many other libraries. If not this identical same resource, then something very similar to it. So again, I still encourage you, even if you don't live in Carol Stream, I still hope you'll get something out of this because again, the resources I'm showing you today are still, a lot of libraries do have something similar, if not these exact same ones. The URL down there below is one of the URLs for our employment resources, although I am going to share a different one today. I recently started working on a different web page for all of our library resources that I'll be taking us to, but cslibrary.org/employment is one of them. Okay, so moving on. So why are we here? Well, this is part of a larger umbrella series called the Grow with Google series, which is geared towards job seekers or those already employed. And there are also some separate presentations as well for owners of small businesses or anyone who's interested in entrepreneurship. The topics more or less alternate each month between business and job seekers. This is why next month's presentation is going to be on library resources for businesses, which I encourage you to attend if you like to. You might still find some other interesting resources there as well. But what is the goal for this, for doing these programs? Hopefully, to help attendees get the right resources and tools to start and succeed in your job search. The final goal, hopefully, being employment. So really, keep an eye out on your library, on the library's online calendar, our print newsletter, and our e-newsletter in the future for more details on the upcoming sessions that are part of the Grow with Google series, as well as other presenters as well. I'm having a presenter come out in April who will talk about job search strategies for older adults. That will be an in-person program here at the library, which I'm really looking forward to hearing them present. So again, who am I? My name is Omar Kashad. I have an MLIS. That's a Master's of Library and Information Science. I'm an adult services librarian here at the Carol Stream Public Library. I've worked at the library for actually a little over a decade now, and in the past I've done a lot of job-seeking programs, whether I found presenters or gone, or just done them myself. We've done quite things on resume reviews, interview assistance, getting resumes past the applicant tracking system, which I thought was pretty good. That was presented by an organization I'll probably talk about later called the People's Resource Center. But my role is really as a facilitator to help you find resources or outside organizations to assist you. I don't have much experience providing job assistance myself, aside from also having been in the job market trying to find a job as a librarian. However, if you need to reach me, that's the library's main email address below. You can say attention Omar. The email will then be forwarded to me. That's if you're like, hey, Omar, here's my situation. Do you know of any resources that can help me? I'd be happy to explain either library resources or maybe outside organizations and so on and so forth. So I really encourage you to reach out to me if you have the opportunity to do so. But let's talk a little bit about the basics. This is one of our employment pages / careers page, which has a lot of our library resources for job seekers. This is one page. I'm going to show you this briefly, but I've started working on a different page that I think is a lot more user-friendly to sort of lay out our job and career resources. On this page, you'll find stuff that not only the library subscribes to, but as well as some outside websites as well. We can see the Chicago Tribune Jobs and Works section on there. Some colleges do DuPage Career Services and other ones as well. But like I said, that's just one page, but I'll be also showing you a different one today as part of the live presentation once I get through these first batch of slides. So what am I going to be talking about though? Well, I'm going to be talking about what's called is basically what are called databases or electronic resources. It's so nice to go on the internet and say, well, everything's on the internet. Well, that is somewhat true. However, the thing though is Google can really only Google or Yahoo or Bing or whatever you use as your search engine. They just can't. They can search what's publicly listed on the internet, but they can't search anything that isn't. And what I mean by that is, like some of the resources I'm showing you today, Google would never find them in a million years. because we have them sort of locked behind a wall. The wall being your library card is what will get you in. So it's locked behind a door. The library card is your entrance to that door. But Google can't say, oh, well, here's this resource. It just doesn't know that, but that's just the nature of search engines. Also, search engines just return so many results. Anything you search, you can get like millions of results. And the thing though is some websites even require payment to access them, such as newspaper publications, whereas the resources, which we actually do provide free access to certain newspapers, but that's outside the scope of this presentation. You go on websites and they'll say you have to pay. The one I see, and I think I talk about this a little bit later in the presentation, is, and this sort of, I'm not gonna lie to you, it sort of breaks my heart, is, someone goes on the internet and they search for free resume builder. And so they'll find a website, reputable or not, and they'll say like, okay, well, great, I can build you your resume for free. And I have seen this. You'll build it for free, but as soon as you need to download that resume, you need to submit it for a job application. That's the point where this website is like, well, okay, pay me money. You have to pay me money to download this resume. I'm not going to give it to you for free. I let you build it for free, but anything after that is sorry, no. That's why the resources I'm going to show you again are free with your library card, and also you can download your resume. You can submit it to job applications. You can modify it however you want. So again, that's just my 2 cents there. And again, search engines, again, as I said, they cannot look into databases or websites that are not available publicly on the internet, but can still be found. This is what I just said. As we know, anything on the internet, you can post whatever you want. Again, I'm not going to go into truth and all that, but just know that, anyone can put whatever they want. I could put whatever I want. And again, just because it's out there doesn't necessarily mean it's reputable. As I said, with the free resume websites, they're just, again, I've seen patrons, somebody pay like a good chunk of change in order to download their resume in order to print it off. Again, it was free to build, not free to download. And that's sometimes where these websites get you, although you'll see none of that with what I'm about to show you. Now, these are some websites, some library resources of interest. I'm not going to really cover all of these. I'm mainly going to cover the first one. But we've got Job and Career Accelerator, which allows you to explore careers, create resumes, search jobs, and get hired all in one place. A companion product, these two products are linked together, is called Learning Express, although I won't be talking about that necessarily as much. The good news is you only need one login for both of them. Learning Express is really good if you're thinking about, testing and going back to school, or learning like a new skill, or building your computer skills. There's like college entrance tests. I think there's also ways of taking the GRE, for example, or even like study for the GED. There's just a lot of, and as well as I said, computer classes as well. There's also some practical career placement exams. I believe the postal exam is on there, and I think there's some realtor exams as well. But they've also got some stuff for like if you're going into nursing or something. Like I believe there are even sample NCLEX exams as well as career ebooks. Again, Learning Express is somewhat outside the realm of this presentation, but it's there as well. We currently offer access to LinkedIn Learning. LinkedIn, perhaps we've heard of it. It's one of the premier ways of networking with other people in the business field. But LinkedIn Learning allows you to, again, accessing with your library card, you can also get access to their free video tutorials on how to learn all sorts of, not just technology skills, but like there's stuff on how to be a better salesperson or be a better boss, or time management, you name it, it's all there. Niche Academy is a product we've recently rolled out in the past year. That's for online database tutorials, as well as some other stuff as well, but it's also a good way to build your technology skills. Like if you're trying to learn that one computer skill that you need in order to get that job, well, those videos, Learning Express might have it, LinkedIn Learning might have it, or even Niche Academy might have it. Reference Solutions is really more for the businesses side of things, but if you're looking to like let's say a place has agreed to hire you, or not hire you, they've agreed to interview you. You can search for their business online and as well as look through what they have to offer. Maybe you'll learn a thing or two before you actually go into the interview. Reference Solutions shouldn't be your only source for that, but it is a good one. And the last one is actually what I will be talking about is Homework Help Illinois, which is perhaps you've maybe heard of it, more common name Tutor.com. A lot of people think of tutor.com as just being like, oh, well, yeah, my kids are in high school or middle school and or in college and they need a live tutor. Of course, tutor.com provides that. Of course, we provide it free for card holders. But what you may not know though is tutor.com, you can connect virtually with a job coach. You can do it through multiple, through at least, from noon on at least. But anyway, it'll provide you with not just connecting with a live career coach to help you with your career, like your job searching, but also you can even submit a resume and a cover letter for review, and you get a turnaround within 48 hours. And again, and also they'll ask you also to post, again, we'll see this, they'll also ask you to post the job description you're applying for. And I think that's just great because it allows the career coach to review your cover letter, review your resume, and by looking at the job listing, they won't update your resume for you. They won't update your cover letter, but they will say, well, here's some things you might want to think about as as part of your resume. So again, that's again why I'm glad Job and Career Accelerator, which I'll be demonstrating in just a bit, allows you to download those resumes and cover letters for free. So of course, what is the key to get in? Well, if you don't recognize this is the library card. This is the front of the library card, not the back. The back is the important part because the back has your library card number on it. Because some of these databases that we offer can be accessed freely within the library without the need for a library card, although most of them do, like LinkedIn Learning. Now, to access these databases from home or elsewhere, you probably will need to have your library card and your PIN number. Your library card starts with 21319. All Carol Stream library cards do, but you also need your PIN number. What is your PIN number? Well, if you don't know, you can always call us over the phone. We can reset it for you, but just know you may need to have your library card and your PIN number to access these from home. We're not going to see this part as I'm doing things today because I'm in the library, but I will try and point out where you might be asked for your library card and your PIN number. Okay, so be sure to type in the library card number though with no spaces. You will see spaces on your library card between some of the numbers. Don't put in any spaces. And then after accessing the digital service that you're looking at, you can then, in most cases, create a free account through them. The only way I say in most cases is like LinkedIn Learning, you don't need to create the account on top of putting in your library card and your PIN number, although Job and Career Accelerator and Tutor.com will require that information, although Tutor.com doesn't require a PIN number. But hopefully that makes sense. Now, if you've lost your library card, that's no reason to panic or be concerned. If you feel you've lost your library card, you can't find it, as long as you live in incorporated Carol Stream, bring in your photo ID, as long as it's current with your address on it, that's all we would need to freely reissue you a library card. If your photo ID doesn't have your current address on it, bring in a piece of mail or a bill alongside your photo ID, although the photo ID does still have to be valid in either case. And then in the front desk to the left, the patron services desk will just freely issue you a new library card. And I would really recommend that if you have ever lost your library card, because think of your library card like out there in the wild. Somebody could come in and they could check out a whole bunch of books on your library card if you think you've lost it, which again, that never happens, but it could happen. So that's just my advice to you. If you think you've lost your library card, come in and get a new one. It's a pretty quick turnaround process, as long as we're not too busy, usually you're out of here within 10 minutes or so. And then you can check out not just our electronic resources, but we do have books as well. Maybe I'll talk about that at the end, but yes, we still have books. We still have books on how to write a resume. We still have books on how to do a cover letter. We still have books on how to do an interview. If you like books and I like books, you can still check out a book. So believe me, the books are not going away, but the good part about these resources that I'm going to show you, they're available 24/7 anywhere with an internet connection, whether it's here or maybe you're interviewing halfway across the country and you have to go to California and suddenly you need your resume. Well, as long as you're using one of these resources, Job and Career Accelerator, you could get at your resume even if you are in another state, or possibly another country. I don't know how well these work outside the country, but I do know they all work across the US as long as you have internet access. This is what I already said about getting a new library card. So again, you can read that later. You can pause this video if you're watching the recording later. But yeah, this is about getting a library card. Also, we do offer temporary digital library cards as well. Those will give you access to our online resources. They expire after 90 days, but can be converted to a physical card after coming to the library. You can find out more at cslibrary.org/library-card. I don't know if we'll ever stop offering the digital cards, but for right now, we are also offering digital library cards. Maybe you can't make it out to the library. The only thing with the digital library card, though, as it says, is you can only access our online resources. You cannot access our book resources. And in some cases, I don't know that you can register for library program either with just a digital card, but it's got a slightly different number on it. I believe it's 21399 or something like that for the number anyway. But yeah, if you have your card and you've forgotten your PIN, like I said earlier, you need the PIN. Try the Forgot My PIN feature under My Account on our library's website, which I'll show. I can maybe point that out if I remember. And if that does not work, again, call us, email us, whatever, and we can reset the PIN number for you. So accessing the library's databases, again, I'll be demonstrating this live shortly. You can go to cslibrary.org, hover your mouse over where it says Learn, and then choose All Topics. The online classes, which is that second option there, gives you access to Niche Academy, which I don't think I'll have time to cover in this class, but it's there. And as you can see below that is live homework help. That's again tutor.com, which can provide you free resume and cover letter reviews, as well as connecting with a live career coach. But anyway, you're going to hover your mouse over Learn, select All Topics. You can see we've got like a listing of our resources, like by category. You can just go through to Jobs and Careers, or I'll select All Topics and then go to Jobs and Careers. Again, I will be showing you this shortly. Or else you can also type into your browser either cslibrary.org/careers, or I believe cslibrary.org/jobs. Jobs will take you to this, careers will take you to something that looks slightly different, which I've just started working on. Because this is our new careers page. This is one I've just started building now. I like it a little bit better. That's one URL or direct address to get to it. But again, cslibrary.org/careers will also get you here. And again, I'm going to show you this in just a moment, but I'm rather pleased with this. I like the layout a lot better. I think it's a lot more user-friendly, but just know that this is here as well. All right, so getting started. And with that, I will go ahead and stop my share. And I'm going to go ahead and start sharing again with our library's website. So, again, just give me a moment here and I'll go ahead and share the library's website. All right, so hopefully now you can see, hopefully now you can see our library's website. If you haven't been here before, I encourage you to come to it. As we just saw, we now have a new app for the library to access our online catalog. And that's really cool. Again, we're really excited about that. Swan Libraries Plus is what it's called. Also, we're offering free English classes coming up. Those are the testing dates there on the right. And again, here we're back to the new Swan Libraries Plus app, although we also have a notice here as well. So again, how do I get access to our library's resources? Well, as I said before, this is the Learn option, and we've got All Topics, online tutorials, and which again is Niche Academy, and we've got also access to live homework help. And if you're interested, here's some of our business resources. I won't talk about Career Online High School as much, but if you don't have your high school diploma, or you're interested in not just getting a GED, like maybe you don't have your GED, but you want to get an actual diploma, Library does actually offer ways to take an online high school, which is sort of an intensive class, but it will get you not a GED, it will actually get you a high school diploma. So if you know anyone who lives in Carol Stream who does not have their high school diploma, I really encourage them to travel to access the site, fill out the intake form, and we'll get back to you about possibly getting a free ride to get your high school diploma. But anyway, we're going to click all topics. This is just one way of getting to the current page that we have access to. And again, to get to the jobs, to the Learn page, to get to our job resources, you can click this next button a few times. But what I like to do is just click this topics list, which is right here. And here we can see jobs and careers. Although if you know the database by name, we have this alpha list option here on the right, in which case you could just scroll down to it, in which case going down all the way to the J's, here's Job and Career Accelerator right here. But again, we're just going to, again, one way to get access to our resources is to click topics. And then here we see here on the left, jobs and careers. We click that and then we're taken to our current page, which is this job and careers page. You can click these bars a couple of times and then see all of our resources. But like I said, what I'm really happy about, and although also again, here's Job and Career Accelerator, which is right here. But what I'm really pleased about is our new page, which is, again, you can only, we haven't currently linked to it, but you can put this directly into your URL browser, is cslibrary.org/careers. And it'll take you to our job and career resources page. And then as we scroll down, we can see the resources for that are alphabetical of our different resources that will help you with your job search. Again, I like the layout of this a lot better, but you can click any of these letters and go to the relevant resource, but we're just going to scroll down here to Job and Career Accelerator. To access it, I can either click this picture here on the left, or I can also click here on the right where it says click here to access. So when I click that, I am then taken to Job and Career Accelerator, which again is linked to Learning Express. But while I'm here, there's a possibility though, after I clicked Job and Career Accelerator and before I got to this web page, it may very well have asked you for, it'll say like Swan Libraries or something. That's just our library system. But what it'll do is it'll show you, it'll ask you for your library card and your PIN number. And when you're done with that, you can then go up here where it says sign in and register. And we're going to click that, and we're just going to go here, and you're going to go to register, which is right here. And you can fill out the information, make sure this says your institution is Carroll Stream Public Library. It asks you some basic questions. Are you a European Union citizen? This because of privacy laws in the EU. You can fill out your information. It's also possible to register without an email, although I don't necessarily say, although I would say, maybe you would want to in case you ever forgot your password. But again, you can put in your password, a password, not your email password, a different password, and then re-enter it, and then you can register. I already have an account, so I'm just going to go ahead and log in. Let's go ahead and hopefully I remember my password. I checked it earlier. Oops, I put in something wrong. I don't do well under pressure. No, I'm just joking. Oh, come on. Okay, good. Because if that didn't work, I would start panicking. There would have been the whole presentation. All right. So when you log in, this is your My Center. Your My Center is if you start doing things, whether they're tutorials, tests, micro lessons, ebooks, videos, all the way down at the bottom. When you start working on resumes, it's all going to be here at a glance after you start working on stuff. But again, this may very well just all be blank when you first log in which case there's nothing to be worried about. You just haven't done anything yet, which is perfectly fine. You're just getting started. So I'm going to choose the centers option. So I got a couple options. I can either click the centers option and go down to Job and Career Accelerator and choose the section I'm looking for, or instead I can click this home button and now I'm taken to see all of the different resources which are here, which again, this is Learning Express / and Jobs and Career Accelerator. But we're mainly going to cover this part of it, but there's also some career preparation stuff as well under this section. Here's our popular software skills center, which can help you with your computer skills. We also have just some computer and internet basics center as well. There's also some resources as part of this as well for Job and Career Accelerator. They're also in Spanish. Not all of it is, but a good chunk of it is. But I'm just going to say, but here's the thing though. So I'm going to click on Job and Career Accelerator and I see a list of resources here. The thing though is, and we're going to start this as though we're a new job seeker. This is our little journey. Maybe I've been employed, and maybe it's like, well, you know what? Now I'm either been let go, or I just don't enjoy what I do anymore. I want to go do something else, but I don't know what that something else is. I want to find another career. I want to find one that I would like, and I want to find it either based on the interests that I already have or the skills that I already have. In which case, what you want to do is you can choose this find a career match option. And when we click that, this is the one thing about this, which is not a bug, but every time you click a resource, even here, when you go to Job and Career Accelerator and choose one of these, it always bounces you to the main page of Job and Career Accelerator. It doesn't take you directly to that resource, in which case I'm just gonna have to click find a career match again. But what's nice about this though is what find a career match does is, first of all, as you're starting to look at this, you can browse the resources that are available. And again, these are all organized by topic as well. It's just, in this case, there are only 2 career tools here, but you may possibly see, depending on what you searched for, there may be tests, tutorials, ebooks, articles, in which case you can check and uncheck these to get more focused. You can also choose this learn more guidance section, which again can walk you through a Job and Career Accelerator. Like there's even, which is nice, how to fill out a job application tutorial, expert advice library, so on and so forth. That's under the learn more guidance, which you find under any of these like individual sections here, which you can also access from this drop down menu. But going back to the find a career match though, is what's nice about this is, as I said, like maybe I decided that librarianship is not for me anymore. I hope that's never the case, but let's say it was. I can launch a career tool, this interest matcher career tool. And what's going to do is it gives me, first of all, this is how you can fill it out. Do you enjoy doing these things? Do you not enjoy doing these things? Do you strongly dislike doing this? Do you dislike doing this? Are you unsure if you like this? Do you like this, or do you strongly like this? In which case you're then taken, as we're going to begin now. I'm not going to fill out this whole thing. Do I like building kitchen cabinets? Well, no, not really. Do I like laying brick or tile? No, I'm only speaking for myself. If you enjoy doing these things, believe me, I'm happy for you. You're much more handy than I am. Do I develop a new medicine? Well, no, not really. Study ways to, do I write? Oh, I really enjoy writing books. Do I like to play an instrument? A little bit. But anyway, you'll just fill all these out, and then and you can save and finish later. But as you go through this like questionnaire, and it won't let me do it without it. But what happens is when you fill out all these questions on the different pages, or if you're midway through and you're not done, you can click save and finish later. What you can do is it'll then give you a list of jobs or careers that it thinks you're a match for based on what you put into this interest matcher field. But if, like I said, these are a lot of questions, but like I said, you can click save and finish later, and you can either close without saving it, or you can save it and come back to it later, which is I'm going to save it. But that was just the interest matcher section. And now it's here under my career dashboard as well. But that was the interest matcher. Now, what I can also do though is, maybe I'm like, well, it's not so much my interest, but this is what I know how to do. In which case it's like, I'd rather just say, here are my skills. And this is sort of the same story, although the question should be slightly different, but the idea is the same. It's like, well, here are the skills that I know how to do. For me, I know how to use Word. I know how to use Excel. I can able to explain why different types of weather affect crops, how cramps and plant grow. Ironically, I took a meteorology class in college, and this is my dad's field. He's a retired professor. He did know how crops and plants grow, but for me, it's like a disagree. I can paint a room in my house. I guess I don't know that I do very well at it. I'm skilled at giving a speech in front of a group of people. Absolutely. I'm good at being in charge of planning events or committees or at school, or let's just even say at work or even your personal life, I guess. But anyway, it's the same story. You just go through these, in this case, 48 questions. And then again, it will give you a list of jobs or careers that it thinks you're a match for based on your interest. I'm skilled at listening to friends' problems and giving them advice. Well, I like to listen. I can listen to their problems. I don't know that my advice is any good, but it's there. I can install software on a computer. Yeah, I can do that. Answer number 5 first. Well, let me answer them out of order. But anyway, but I know I'm able to know what steps to take if a stranger approaches me. Yes, I know how to do that too. But like I say, you just fill this out, you go from one to the next, and then again, it'll give you a list of jobs and careers they may be interested in. Hopefully that made sense. Now, the thing that was after you fill that out, though, the question is, well, great, it gave me this career. Is there even any, like, are there expected to be any more openings in this career? Excuse me, what's the average salary? What would I even need to know? Like, what about education? What would I need to know in order to even be, considered for this position. Like for me, I'm not going to go work for NASA. But if I did, even if this thing somehow said you're a match for NASA, like you need to know what you're getting into before you go to NASA. Although there is a really nice video coming out, a movie that's coming out about a gentleman who was, I believe he was a children of migrant farmers, I think, and he built his education and he applied multiple times to go to NASA and was rejected each time, and finally he got accepted. And I think they just recently made a movie about him, which is encouraging. But anyway, so if I want to find like, is there any future in whatever this career is that is planned for me, I'll go back to Job and Career Accelerator and I'm going to choose Explore Occupations. Although again, when I click that, it takes me back to this. But I'm going to go down here to Explore Occupations. I'm going to click that. And then what I see here is first of all, there's a different way of exploring occupations, like maybe explore military to civilian occupations, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, military to career college, a how-to guide for veterans. There's some good stuff for veterans. Careers it thinks are going to be popular based on the near future, because of new technology, innovation, or economic trends. Maybe you just want to read that. Again, you don't have to do the quiz in order to access these. I'm just saying the quiz might tell you ideas of where to start looking in terms of what you may be interested in doing. But there's also hot technologies and even registered apprenticeships. Apprenticeships are basically ways of learning how to like weld and do like manufacturing work. The Carroll Stream Chamber is really big into apprenticeships, as well as getting people interested in the manufacturing field. I've been into a number of chamber meetings for the manufacturing sector. As you know, we have the big industrial park. You've probably seen the signs. They're always looking for people. And in fact, if you get, it's for some people, and I would agree with this, maybe you don't want to go back to college to learn new skills, but you could get like a trade school, and you could start working at a plant. And from what they've told me, again, this is not me telling you this is true, but this is what they've told me. You start out on the ground floor, but there's a lot of opportunity for advancement and a way to get good money working in the manufacturing sector, if that's what you're interested in. It's not what I'm interested in personally, but if you are interested in that, by all means, maybe that's something to consider. But I'm going to choose this Explore Occupations group option. And what this does is I can either search by a career by just typing something in here, or I can look through the different fields here like we saw earlier, but I can select an occupation group, and maybe there's something here that's really sticking out to me. In which case, for me personally, if I hadn't been a librarian, I would have been one of two things. I probably would have gone into finance. I was interested in being an accountant, and to a degree I still am, but I don't know that I'll ever pursue that as a career. But then there's also I was always just interested in the law, more specifically like intellectual property law, but let's say I'm interested in finance. Here we can see a list of fields, now that I've clicked that, in the finance department, in finance category, like accountants and auditors, actuaries, budget analysts. I really enjoyed doing financial accounting, like for business accounting. But you can see there's just a lot of different things here. I don't know that I'd be good as a tax preparer, but I could try. But let's say, for example, that I'm interested in being well, I'll say accountants. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else here that's sticking out to me, like maybe being a financial manager, financial quantitative analyst. That sounds actually kind of cool. But I'm just going to say, accountants and auditors. So when I click this, this will give me a snapshot of the accountants and auditors information for different like wages and trends, knowledge, skills and abilities, tasks and activities, like tool and technology, all and so forth. If you're wondering where they're getting this information from, some of this stuff has been compiled based on labor statistics. Particularly the wages and trends option. We can see here the source for this is the Bureau of Labor Statistics. What you can do is what this does is this lets you know what are the expected based on the Bureau of Labor Statistics and government statistics. Again, projected growth. Some of that may have changed because of COVID, but everything changed because of COVID. And we're only just now realizing how that's impacted the things now that we're slowly moving beyond that. But what you can do is you can say, here's the United States on average, the average salary for an accountant. That seems a little high, but that's what the Bureau of Labor Statistics says. And what you can do is you can then choose this drop-down menu. And you can say, okay, well, I don't want Alabama, obviously. I'm not going to move there. I want Illinois. So you can click Illinois, and what you can see here is, though, is what's interesting is, and they base this information off of, I believe, the Illinois statistics, off the Bureau of Labor Statistics, but I think also partially from job listings it gets from Monster.com, I think, where I can see here that it says, okay, well, as we see in Illinois, I said this because I thought that US thing was a little high. I guess in the US it is higher than being an accountant for the average salary in Illinois. You can see it's only 78,000. But you can see, like, here's the number of people employed. Again, it's a nice cross comparison because as maybe we've read in the news lately, though, again, this is for Illinois. Again, projected growth is higher, though, expected between Illinois and the rest of the state. But we can see our job openings. But what's also nice about the state drop-down menu is, I'm sure maybe we read in the newspaper, I think the Tribune lately or something had an article about there being more people leaving the state than have been entering it, although that's been the case for a while now. Maybe you are going to move to a different country. Maybe you are going to move to a different state, in which case you're like, well, how are things in Indiana then? Indiana pays even less, but you can see the projected growth for accountants is even higher. So, if you're thinking about moving to a different area of the country, you can check, cross and compare. I'm curious what it says for the Virgin Islands. I'm surprised this data is even here, but you can see the projected growth is very, very small. But this is mainly the contiguous United States, although I don't think, oh no, there's Puerto Rico. I was wondering if Puerto Rico was on here. Puerto Rico is super small. So if you're interested in being an accountant, based on projected growth, maybe it's not a good idea to move to Puerto Rico and be an accountant if you're expecting to get a job in Puerto Rico as an accountant. That doesn't mean you can't get a job there, but at least well, maybe moving to Indiana might be a better idea. Because as we can see here, the projected growth is expected to be 9% higher. Again, do your research. Don't take this as the only example of how to figure out ideas. Is there projected growth? Again, this is just an idea. It's not, nothing is set in stone because things are always changing. Nobody could have predicted COVID really in 2019. But again, there's some more information on here. Like, remember, reported wages or averages. Again, the actual salary will depend on location, experience, company, and other factors. Just use this as a guide for when evaluating an occupation. It gives us yeah, this is good. Not when negotiating a salary. You might be able to get paid more than the average if you have the experience for it, which I don't. If I was, I just have some basic classes and stuff, which I probably have to go back to school for anyway, which is why I really like that it has this education and training part. So again, I'm going to skip some of these, but again, here's knowledge, skills, and abilities. This is some good skills to know if you want to be an accountant. But again, we can also scroll down further. Again, for me though, it's education training. It says most of these occupations require a 4-year bachelor's degree, but some don't. That's sort of general. I was hoping sometimes this might get a little bit more focused, but because the thing with an accountant though is you really need a CPA license or a CPA license in order to be an accountant. Sometimes it mentions sometimes specific, sometimes it doesn't. I wish this was a little bit more focused, but that's okay. Again, this is why this shouldn't be your only resource for learning about new careers. Do your due diligence and search for a multitude of sources. But anyway, there's just other stuff here. You can even view available jobs. Like, why don't we just put in a zip code and see what's going on around us in the nearest 25 miles. Again, I'll show you how to get to this more dedicated research in a moment. I hope this loads. It may not. Maybe I shouldn't have said 25 miles. So yeah, there's like different auditors, as we can see here. These are relatively recent postings, 12/29/2023, Senior Manager of Internal Audits. Here's some, helpful hints. So as you're looking for positions, as you can see, there's even multiple pages of positions as well. Again, this is powered by Monster.com. We're probably familiar with them. And I could click on any of these to actually go to the listing. I believe this would take me to Monster.com, and it did. We're just going to skip that. Oops, sorry. There we go. And we're just going to go back to this, and we're going to go to the next part, which is okay. I know what I want to do. I've looked at the position. I'm reading one of those Monster.com descriptions of the job. And I finally want to build the important part of this whole process, which is my resume. How would I build my resume? Well, the way you can do that is, again, we go back to this centers option. We're going to go down to Jobs and Career Accelerator, and we're going to go down to this part which says, of course, build resumes and job letters. And again, it bounces us back to the main screen again. But I'm going to click this Build Resumes and Job Letters section. And what's going to happen is I can have different options here, in which case we do see some more check mark boxes up here. There's like a tutorials option. There's also career tools option. There's only 4 ones on this page. What's nice is if you're like, well, I want to build my resume, but I don't even know where to start in that regard, you can click this Great Resumes tutorial. And when you click on that, it's going to walk you through the processes of building a great resume. In which case you can click on Start Tutorial as navigate to any unit here on the left, but I'm going to click Start Tutorial. And we're not going to go through the whole tutorial, but it's going to say introductions. You know, what is a strong resume? Well, it's an essential part of the job search process. Excuse me. And knowing that information is important, and knowing what information is important to include and how it should be presented is essential. Absolutely true. Keywords are important. Reflecting what's in the job posting are important. Introduction, what is a resume? You know, they say, do you know what a resume is? Yes, but they might not, but they might know it's an important document used in a job search, but what you may not know is the intricacies of the resume itself. You know, unless you have spent time considering what a resume is and is not, they may be stuck searching for a job with a mediocre version of what could have been an impressive resume. That's absolutely true. But anyway, there's just more lessons here on the right. I'm just going to click Save Later. There's also a notepad here where you could actually take a note if you really want to digitally. But again, if you don't know what this is doing, you can go up here and here's instructions for how this actually works on how to navigate a tutorial. Again, just here above the percentage you've finished and then so on and so forth. I'm just going to say Finish Later. Because what I'm going to do now, though, is, you know, maybe I've read all that. I know what's in a great resume. Great. When I save it, I'm taken again back to the tutorials page. But I'm going to go back here again. But to actually build the resume, again, for free, I'm going to choose Job and Career Accelerator. I'm going to say Build Resumes and Job Letters. And again, I click on here in the main section and then go to Build Your Resume. So I'm going to launch this career tool. I'm not going to go into Build Your Letter part of it. That's for your cover letter. But it's there. Now, when I do this, what's nice is, you know, maybe it may already have a resume, and then I can actually upload a resume. This is nice because you can even upload a PDF and it will use hopefully OCR, optical character recognition, to pull words out of your resume. This is helpful if you only have your resume as a PDF. But you know, I could upload a file if I already have my resume. But what if I don't have a resume? I click, I want to create a new resume. In which case, I'm going to give that resume a name, which is, you know, Omar's resume, January 2024. I could describe the resume if I wanted to, a sample. Oops, I have caps lock on. Come on. A sample resume for the jobs club on January 2020. Of course, yours would be more specific than this. You probably want to say what the position is, and you maybe even include a link to the listing. What's nice, though, is you can also select a job category, and this is required. This is important because it will help you. It'll give you tips to sort of you know, tailor your resume towards the position that you're trying to find. So for me, again, I'm going to go back to finance. What's my job experience? You know, again, I'm more of an, let's say I actually had the education. I'm more of an entry-level job. I'm a recent graduate, let's say. And here's also, which is kind of nice, is, you know, I have a 6-month gap in my work history. I'm transitioning from military to civilian workforce. I'm looking to change careers. This again will help the tips that it gives you. Again, resume writing tips are some basic ones here, but it'll allow you to, again, it'll help you give you some tips that are tailored towards your career situation. So I can click Start Building My Resume. And here I'm taken to my resume. And here I can see that you're probably thinking, where did it come up with this already? This was in my profile. But what I can do is, you know, there's just different sections here. You don't have to do all of these. You know, you can, you know, maybe you don't want a headline, or maybe you do. But you could also, what are your highlighted your qualifications? What's probably important is this experience section and education as well as your skills, license, and certifications. Just because these sections are here does not mean that you need to have them in your resume. It's just saying they're here if you would like to. This is why it's important to, read up on resume writing books and read what you read online and maybe connect with organizations in the area, which I'll highlight a little bit, and I'll tell you that maybe you need this section, maybe you don't need this section. You could even add a customized section if you really wanted to. But I'm going to go down to, and also if you want to edit your header, you can click edit and you can change this if it doesn't populate correctly. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to what is my education, for example. At least that'll be truthful. Degree earned. I have this is more of a minor. I have a minor in business, which is completely true. I minored in business as part of my undergraduate career. That's why I was taking accounting courses. Though my major area of study was admittedly political science. The name of the college or school. Guess you're learning everything about me today. University of Illinois. Location, of course, Champaign. I already graduated. I graduated a long, long time ago. I graduated back in May of 2008. But anyway, any additional information, maybe just, I don't need to put anything else. And I'm going to click save. And now this is saved under my education field. And again, and that's what I'm currently editing. I can then go to close this. And then I can go to a different section, or I can navigate it through these arrows, because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to what is my experience, in which case I will lie on the experience section. Don't lie in your resume, but I'm going to lie for the sake of this presentation. So what's nice though is as you're doing some of these sections, you're going to see this like experience. You're going to learn more about this, more how to complete this section plus. And when you click on that, it's going to give you some helpful tips. Again, I said I was a recent graduate, and the tips that it gives me here are for a recent graduate. So again, you may not have much paid experience, in which case I have no paid experience technically. It's perfectly reasonable to include internships, volunteer work, and leadership activities here. Because I probably hopefully would be interning at maybe some major accounting firm or banking firm like my cousins do. Or even my grandpa was also into finance, and one of my uncles is a tax attorney. But anyway, it says list your work experience in reverse chronological order. Absolutely. Include your key responsibilities, use strong action words. These are all really good tips in general. And what's also nice is I'm going to go to this in a moment, is the samples tab, where I can look at resumes that have already been built for like this particular field and look at them and not copy them verbatim, but say, oh, well, I really like how this is laid out. I can modify this to match my experience as well as the job that I'm applying for. And there's some more helpful hints here. So what's job group? I'm probably not going to put that part in. It's just, you could organize your resume based around job groups. But what was my title? And I'm just going to say I was a corporate finance analyst. And what was my employer? I'm gonna say XYZ Inc. There's no place by that name. Where was it? It was in Chicago. What state was it in? Again, this is really pretty straightforward. I have to fill out that. I have to write all this from scratch. United States. When I start working on there, I started working there in January of 2011, and I'm still working there to present. I'm going to click present. I have to put an end date. What was my job description? It's really nice. You can put little bullet points here. Analyze company records for let's see here. Let's say depreciation. You got to put in better words than this, but I'll show you how to find some good action words in a moment. Conduct audits on different departments, and then also not commit financial fraud. Don't, I put that as a joke. What are my job accomplishments? Again, I can put another bullet point. Employee of the month. And then also most trusted accountant on staff. And yeah, but anyway, and then you can also do like spell check here with ABCs. You can also like change like or like where you're going to have this like left justification, middle, right, the you know justify. You can see what all these means by hovering your mouse over it. But I'm done with that. Great, cool. Great. So that is a section on my resume, and I can add another position if I want, or I can just close this. And that's my experience. Now, what's also nice though is, so what they said before though is we sort of glossed over is some sections here up at the top, which I sort of skipped over until we were finally building our resume. As you can see, here's my name, here's one of my first experience section, and here's my education. This resume is already coming together, which is great. What you can do though is up here at the top, it says build your resume, but I can also browse sample resumes. When I click that, I'm then taken to browsing some financial resumes. Again, I could browse them in other areas, but because I said that, this is my job category that I put in when I was building the resume, I'm a recent graduate and I'm looking to change careers, it'll show me like some sample resumes for like being a finance intern or a financial analyst intern. I'll probably click that one, or even some other things as well, especially considering I said I was also interested in like transitioning from one position to the next or one career to the next. There's also some of that here as well. Although I'm not really an experienced job seeker as a finance manager, but it's there. What I do is maybe I was a financial analyst. Maybe this is what I'm interested in, being a financial analyst intern. I can click that, and what I see here is a sample resume, and we can read through it, but also has this nice little description about Bonnie here. Bonnie is not a real person. Don't worry about that. But Bonnie addressed all of her key interests in the headline section. If you want to have one, you don't have to have one. Again, consult a career coach to know for sure. But it says, how she illustrates her commitment to her internship, indicating that she regularly attended meetings, indicates her ability to perform in-depth research or equity indices. These are all really good buzzwords. The bullet point about the 2 a.m. start to her workday, that's interesting. Again, you can take or leave this. As it relates, it illustrates her flexibility and poise under pressure. That sounds funny, but I had a cousin who works in banking who says he works like 60-hour weeks, but he loves it. So anyway, he works some wild hours from what I hear, or at least he did when I last talked to him. But anyway, so then but again, what I can do is if I like this resume, I browse through it, I like it, I can add to my selected sample resumes, and here it is. And I could add more too if I wanted to, like maybe I was interested in being a finance intern. But now these sample resumes have been added, and what that allows me to do is, and I'll show you what that allows me to do is basically I can then go back to build or edit resume. And when I go down to the experience section now, I'll click edit for this section, and now I'm done with my first section. I'm now going to go on to add another position. Now, this is kind of hard to find, but let me see if I can find it here. This thing is always hiding. Where is it? Oh, here we go. So now what we see here above experience is this bar, which has now appeared, which says add and customize this section from my selected sample resumes. This allows me to click on this and look at the sections that were part of the different resumes that I really liked, in which case, maybe let's see if I see anything here poking out to me. This is just the first resume. This was the second one. I didn't have a third. But let me look here for finance intern. So I like this claims processor section. Let's say I did do this. Although some of these things are going to be different based on my thing, like maybe I didn't organize a number, the shareholders' claims. Well, let's say I like this. I'm going to use this section of my resume. I'm going to click this check mark box. I could click more, but I'm just going to click this first one. I'm going to say add this now experience to my resume. And when I do that, it is now populated with the exception of the position, of course, because I got to say who I worked for, in which case I worked for ABC Inc. In let's say Seattle. Why? I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to say Seattle, Washington, United States. Let's say I worked there from, again, January, let's say, 2008. I got to it just out of college, and then I was there until I don't remember what I put for the for the other thing. Let's just say I did not work there until 2030, although that'd be kind of wild if I did. I worked there into the future. I'm going to say until 2011. Now, what happens is now this section has been auto-populated into my resume, and I can change this. Like maybe I didn't organize and number over 40,000 files of shareholder, maybe I didn't do that. I can just highlight this or go to the very end here where my blinking line is. I can delete out this section because I didn't do that. Now it's gone. I can say correspondence to 800 number as well as paper mailings. Maybe I didn't do it through paper mailings. Maybe I did it through email correspondent. They always said correspondence. I don't have that there twice, but I can change that. Receive and review claims, check proofs, perform calculations, and handle corrections. And that's a good one. Particularly for securities litigation, using Microsoft Access. Well, maybe I wasn't using Access. Maybe instead I was using Oracle. Using Oracle bases. Anyway, so you can change that, and then you can save this, and you can see that that was a lot less work for me because I liked what it said, and also I can collapse this by clicking this minus. Now this thing is here as well. Well, at least I got that date right. But again, these are more sections to my resume. Now, in addition to the helpful, to some other sections on here, like helpful hints, which is again nice. There's even more helpful hints here for doing this. What I can do is instead I can also click not just browse sample resumes, but go to the keyword list. The keyword list is really good because again, this is tailored to again, me wanting to go into finance. And I can look here, like what are some data financial skills? And these are some really good keywords to put at the beginning of everything that I did as part of my internship or whatever job I may have had. And I can put this in here, like these are strong words like calculated, divested, projected, researched, prospected, netted. These are really good action or keywords that I can put into my resume without having to think off the top of my head or use like a thesaurus, to figure out, well, these do relate to my position. So I can just like write that down. I have to go back to my resume though, write some of these down. But I can write that for data and financial skills because I did do some of these things. I allocated, funds or what have you. There's also some good stuff here for creative skills as well. Research skills, the list goes on. I'm curious, teaching skills are good here. I enjoy, talking about resources. Those are just action words, which are really good. I can also go to job specific keywords. So in which case, this thing doesn't just show you, just for accounting, it shows you a whole bunch of other ones as well. This isn't so specific like to just tailor, but I can click this accounting one. And again, I can see like accounting, auditing, and bookkeeping, which is really collections, which is really more of my interest than say like auditing. Not that I wouldn't be happy to audit somebody, but I can click on that. And again, I can see like, again, job specific keywords all here under this keyword list. There's some good job specific keywords, which again, I can copy into my resume if I've actually done these things like bookkeeping. I did that in some of my financial classes, my especially accounting 101 and 102. Corporate finance is really where my real passion lied. I really enjoyed doing that when I was in college. Like I said, I never pursued it, but I really enjoyed especially going through spreadsheets and determining depreciation, amortization, especially going through the whole list, accounts receivable, accounts payable, just trying to make sure that you can balance out the books, which is something I really enjoyed really looking through it. Not that I don't love librarianship, I just really did enjoy corporate finance. But again, there's just a whole lot of stuff here that again, I can copy and paste into my resume, through the browser. I can right click and left click copy, and then go to my resume and right click and left click paste, or I can just write this down. But again, that's just the keyword list. Now, as I've been building my resume though, now I can go to my preview resume, and here's a preview of what my resume looks like. And I can click this customize my, now what's also nice though is maybe this layout is kind of, I do like the layout though, but maybe you don't like this layout as much. Well, you can also click this customize my resume option, and you can even choose different layouts for your resume that are available here, sample layouts, if you really wanted to, just at a glance, do a sample layout. I will say this is what I've heard from like going to job like for been to like hear people speak about positions is you really want to stay away from lines in your resume is what I heard, and I did see this in practice right before COVID hit. Lines are really bad for the applicant tracking system. So what happens is when you have your resume and you upload it to a company's website, like we talk about AI is in the news so much lately. There's a applicant tracking system which will take words out of your resume and determine if you are how much of a match you are to the position that they're looking for, and you have to score over a certain percentage in order for them to consider you. The problem with lines in your resume is the applicant tracking system can get hung up on these lines. So it'll go to like your line and then it'll just stop and say, well, they don't match this position at all because it couldn't interpret the line to go past it. Why I say is I remember this is because a patron was applying for a job and their resume had lines in it. And when they uploaded their resume to this job search, and we've probably seen this when we applied online, we upload our resume, and then when we look through and then it'll say, okay, well now go through your resume, like go through our job portal and make sure that the your experience is listed correctly. Make sure your employment is your history, your education is listed correctly. What happened was though is the thing got hung up on his line, so so his patron was wondering why did it not go past, like why didn't it go past my education? Why did it not go past my experience section? I couldn't tell him this because again, I can't really provide advice, but I knew in my mind and my heart was it got cut up on the line. And so anyway, so that's again, take it or leave it. Again, I'm not a career coach. And I can't remember if I told him about the line thing or not. I may have, but what I've heard is, be careful about lines in your resume is really these breaks right here. Just watch out for them. Also, the beauty of this though is you can also reorder the sections if you want to based on these little bars here. So maybe I want my education after my experience. Well, I can drag this down and let go, and now suddenly this is reversed. Or maybe I liked it where it was. I can drag it up and now it's back to the way that it was. You could reorder these sections before you even download the resume. And then what you can do though is now what you can do is, you can even clone this resume if you want to. Here's your other career advice. That I've heard, you can clone a resume, which is fine. You can have the same but you want to apply for every position. From what I've been told, and I did this myself when I was applying for positions, wanted to get to work at a library. You want to make sure that your resume is always tailored to that job posting. Do not just do a blank, don't do here's my standard resume. I'm going to send it out to 1 billion people and maybe I'll get a bite and maybe I won't. No, because of the applicant tracking system, you really need to modify your resume to more tailor to the position. I had resumes for every single position that I applied for, and while some sections were the same, what I said that I did there, I more tailored it to that position based on what I did, though I never lied on my resume, but I said, well, okay, here's what I did as part of my previous education or even my volunteering that more closely matched this position that maybe for another position that I applied for, it may not have applied. So again, that's just some general stuff. And when I'm done customizing my resume, and when I'm done with that, this is going to refresh itself. And what I can do is I can either, if I'm hooked up to a printer, I can print my resume, or I can even email my resume. But the powerful tool right here is this download your resume option. Now, what's nice though is we're probably going to see too much of this because I'm actually already in the browser. But what's nice about this though is I can download my resume as a Word document, as a PDF, or even a rich text format, and explains what those means is. And what's nice about downloading this as a Word document is that I can then open it in Microsoft Word and maybe even make more nuanced changes to the resume that maybe I feel I can't do in the resume builder section. But if you're totally happy with how it is, or here's the thing though, if you don't have Word, you just have a basic word processor on your computer, this is where the rich text format is helpful. A lot of word processor programs can read a rich text file, whereas really only Word files work best in Word. But if I don't want to make any changes to my resume, I really recommend having your resume in PDF format is how I submitted my resumes. PDFs by default are not designed to be edited. This way, and also it keeps all the formatting as well in your resume. This is helpful because if you just have it as a Word document, I don't know if you've ever emailed a Word document to yourself, but sometimes when you email a Word document to yourself and you open it on another computer, you may notice that the formatting has changed. That's just inherent to Word. So again, this way it helps to download as a PDF, and then basically that PDF will have everything like where you want it to be. So if you are matched for the position, and the HR person reads your resume, the resume is going to look how you wanted it to look. Otherwise, you're sort of taking a chance if you just submit a Word document. Plus, Word documents can be edited, though. Not saying an HR person would ever edit your document. I'm not arguing conspiracy theories. But again, better to send them something which by default is not usually supposed to be editable all that easy. In which case, you say PDF, you click download file. I can't really show you the Oh, good. It's opening in a new browser tab. That's excellent. Oh, okay, it did. Sorry, it opened in the file is saved right here. You may not see that. I'm only sharing my web browser. I'm not showing I'm not showing the whole screen, so I can't really show you the file, but the file is basically going to look like this. It's just going to be a PDF, which is really nice. And anyway, so like I said, I cannot edit the PDF, but I could edit the Word document. Like maybe again, I could go in there, I could delete out these lines, for example, if I didn't find like again, one of these templates that I really liked. So here's the thing though. I've got my resume now. I'm happy with it, but although again, I would have based on something before this, which I'm about to cover now, which is the searching for jobs and internships section. When I click that, what I'm taken to again is here to the main page. I'm going to click search for jobs and internships. And what's nice though is there's a federal job search option. Here's a tutorial on how to find your next job. Here's the Monster USA searches. This used to be powered by Indeed. Now it's powered by Monster. I can launch this career tool, and this is going to look like what we saw under the occupations field. I can say again, accountant. Oops, caps lock was on. Accountant. Let's say Illinois. I'm casting a real wide net. I could even say remote if I wanted to, which is kind of nice. And then there's even an advanced search if I really want to get specific. Maybe I'll just change that to Chicago. No sense being fancy. Although here you can see when I did this way back in the past, I actually said librarian. I'd be surprised but that was when it was still powered by Indeed, but I presume this would still work for Monster. But I'm gonna search for jobs. As you can see, I got 15,000 almost 16,000 results. I can tailor this to be more specific. Maybe I don't want to really go for 25 miles. I can say 10 miles, in which case there's like 9,000 results here. And then I can, and then again, and here's where the save this job search thing was earlier, which we saw that with the librarian thing. I can save this search if I want to, and that's really good. That way, when I click this, the results are still going to be live. It's not going to show you old listings, because that was a snapshot of when I click save this job search. No, it'll just rerun the job search. And as I save this, I can even save these job listings if I want to, which will be saved back to my profile, which is right here under the my name and my center option. I can also choose this apply option. I'm curious if I click this should bounce me out to Monster. Okay, great. All right, so this bounced me out to Monster. And what I can do is now I can read through the position, look at the job details, try and reflect this in my resume if I can. Here's my one piece of advice. JoBot? Never heard of that. There's some company I never heard of. Here's my one piece of advice, which you can take or leave. And I base this not based on my own experiences, but from what I've heard, but also from an article I read recently within the past year. It's better when you apply for positions, don't apply through monster.com. You see this quick apply? I'm not saying that doesn't work, but what works better though is, and this is even based on a recent article I read, and probably, I don't remember through what website, it was like a newspaper site, is there are people who have applied through Monster or through Indeed directly. And I'm not saying this is true of everybody. I'm not saying this. But they've applied, and because Monster, and they said, and then when this company contacted the HR person, they're like, I never knew they applied. We have no record of their application, because you don't because what's better to do is don't apply through Monster. Go to the company's website right down here, jobot.com. Go to their website and find their careers page and see how they want you to apply. They may say apply through Monster, but if you're just applying to all of these positions specifically, and especially hopefully with a tailored resume, I wouldn't suggest sending the same resume to this and all those other positions I saw listed. You can click this quick apply, but there's no way of knowing that they got it or not. Whereas at least if you try and do it through their website, the JoBot website, and you apply through their website, there's a stronger possibility that they will get your application because you applied through their website. I say the same thing for the library. We have an employment page. I don't know that we've ever advertised on Monster, but I would say that's just my basic advice. Take it or leave it. Again, I'm not a career expert. I'm not a career coach. It really helps to, again, go to this company's website directly and apply through their website, or see on their website, how do they want you to apply for this position? They may not, because you could click apply, but you don't know that this place is going to get your resume or not. Again, that's take it or leave it advice. But again, that's just what I've heard. Yeah. Are you an easy fit? Click. This JoBot, who's Jim Foreman? I don't know. Maybe look him up. Does Jim Foreman work for JoBot? I'm not saying this listing isn't legitimate. I'm sure it is. I'm not in any way implying that Monster is listing bad positions, but I'm just saying it helps to apply through their website. Again, that's just my basic advice. Again, not a career coach. Take it or leave it. But now we're going to, oops, sorry. So again, that's why you download the resume though, and you go to monster.com and you then upload your resume through there, or go to the company's website and upload it through there. It's not like there's not connectivity between Job and Career Accelerator and monster.com to just say, oh, well, automatically upload my resume. If I click this and then click, because now we're outside of the Job and Career Accelerator, if I click upload my resume, I'm gonna have to create an account through them and then upload my resume that way, which again is a good thing. I think that's a good thing. It'll encourage you to, hopefully all of us, myself primarily, if I was ever doing this, to again tailor my resume to the job. Anyway, but that's that part of it. Oops. But that's the application part. I won't cover how to do a cover letter. That you can explore that on your own time. It's basically the same principle. But what's nice though is they've also got this prepare for an interview section, which is really good. In which case you can click prepare for an interview, and you can see here, different tutorials on how to interview with confidence. There's even some ebooks here on how to do like a networking sample letter. What's also really good is this interview thank you sample letters, which is really good because whenever, like when I applied for any position, even if I didn't know I was going to get it or not, I always send a thank you letter to that's why it's good to get the contact information, whoever's interviewing you, and you send them a thank you letter, and it'll remind them that, okay, they remembered to send a thank you letter. And they said, and also in the thank you letter, you write like, well, here's why I think, again, based on our interview, here's what I think I'm a good fit for this position, and they may remember you more. I did that for every job I applied for, whether I got it or not. Whether I later got it or not, it's just a good tip to follow. There's also some follow-up sample letters. Usually you can ask that during the interview, but maybe you would want to send a follow-up sample letter, like, which is sort of, it's sort of, what's the difference between the two? You'd have to download the ebook to be sure. What's also nice is, they've got some sample ebooks. These are just PDFs, but again, you can download them on your computer. You can read them on your own time, or you can even read them in the product itself. If I click download, it's probably going to open in Adobe, which I can't open in front of you on this page because I'm showing you my browser. But anyway, there's also job offers and salary negotiation tutorials. Again, going back to what it said under explore occupations, which is like, maybe you have enough experience that you could ask for more than the baseline pay. Again, do that at your own discretion. I'm not saying do it or don't do it, but at least to give you some ideas if you had to have a salary negotiation. And maybe you may need and then of course, maybe you will be accepting the job, and maybe I'll just write a letter to them saying I'm accepting the job, and maybe you're going to quit your current job, in which case, again, go through whatever your company's process is. But if you had to write a letter of resignation, you could get some sample ideas for how to do that. Um, and then the final thing I'll show you on this, I won't go into how to search for schools and scholarships. It's there. I'm assuming we're all probably not going back to school. You can choose the career ebooks library, in which case there are some good ebooks here that are scattered across the other positions. 100 conversations for career success. Try maybe some basic ideas how to get into certain fields. I'm not, and then becoming a teacher. We can go to the second page. I think on the second page there's a couple of really good ones. Yeah, career changers manual, which is really good. Because maybe I'm interested. I was in librarianship. Now I want to go into accounting. Or social networking for business success, which is really important. Some companies won't even publicly list their positions, but people inside the company will know about them, and they could still get your resume in front of the HR person, depending on who you know, or even it's just good to network with people who work at this company and say, hey, is there anything you can tell me that might help me, be better, might make the company be more interested in me? Because even when I interviewed at the library, I believe they did ask me what I knew about the Carroll Stream area, which fortunately I'd done my research. I knew about Armstrong Park, for example. There's also social networking for career success, which again is sort of similar to this is business success, but this is career success. Again, this is the second edition, which is kind of nice. How to unlock the secrets of LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and more. And that's really good too. And so that's the bulk of Job and Career Accelerator. Hi, everyone. This is a brief addendum to the presentation that I gave yesterday. So if this seems like an abrupt shift, it's because I realized I forgot to cover something. I was going to say that after you build your resume or your cover letter, do different tutorials and things along those lines, you may come back to the Job and Career Accelerator later and say, okay, well, I need to re-edit my resume, or I need to re-edit my cover letter, or I need to resume a tutorial that I had started. How do I find that information? What you want to do is you want to go to your name here, which will appear after you're logged in, which case is whatever your username may be. It may not be Okashad, that's just my name. You're going to click the My Center option. And then when you do that, you're the Me Take, and we saw this briefly at the beginning of the presentation. You're going to see all the different sections again of things that you've done. If you've started any tests, taken any tutorials, in which case here's the Great Resumes and the Interview with Confidence tutorials that I had, especially the Great Resumes tutorial, which I had originally started. We saw that earlier in the presentation. And you can just click on this tutorial again, and then you'll basically be relaunching about right where you were. But for more specifically for the resumes, we just have to scroll all the way down here to the career dashboard section, which is right here. Sorry. And then we'll click this resumes option. Again, if I had any cover letters, they'd be right below it. My saved searches, that was that librarian search that I mentioned earlier. I didn't save the accountants in Chicago search, but if I had, it would be here too. Save jobs would also appear here as well. I showed you where the save jobs section was, and so on and so forth. And again, if I had actually taken those interest matchers, skills matchers quizzes, they would have just been right here. And then here's some recommended resources as well. I can also just specifically go to the career dashboard by clicking this little arrow down here. But anyway, like I said, if I want to go back to my resume to continue editing it, I can click this. I can click where it says resumes. All right, looks like it's temporarily hung up on something. That's fine. I'm gonna have to. There we go. Okay, so I click the career dashboard, and so I'm taken here, and then and here, yeah, it says right here, as I said earlier, that their Indeed.com was now powered by Monster. Yeah, this change may affect your existing saved searches with Indeed. So, but they should redirect you to the new Indeed to the Indeed website. But anyway, where I'm going with this is, so I'm going to click my resumes, and as you can see, here are the resumes that I've worked on. As I said, I'm recording this after I'd given the initial presentation. That's why this says last modified 14 hours ago. So what I can do then is I can then go to this pencil icon here where I can edit my resume, or then here's like cloning, printing. We saw this before. Maybe one of these older resumes, I can click show more to see even more resumes. Maybe I don't really need this jobs club sample from 2021, last modified 1,124 days ago. I can click this delete resume if I really want to, and then it would bin the resume. I'd say only do this if you're absolutely certain you want to get rid of it. Again, then if I click this add a resume, it should take me back to the resume creation page, which we just saw. But I'm going to click Omar's resume, January 2024. And then this is going to look similar to what we saw. And we can edit it, go on and edit different sections. The only thing I wanted to add is like when you save a resume, like one of those sample resumes, I show that you can import the experience sections into your resume, but that's also true for the other sections as well if it was mentioned in that resume. So for example, maybe if that sample, any of those sample resumes had skills, if I click add, then it'll also allow me to add the skills as well. But that was another little addendum I wanted to add as well. So like I said, you can go to this, you can go to My Center. Again, I'm leaving the resume, which is fine. And I'm going back to this main section. Here I am back at the career dashboard because that was the last thing that I clicked. I can also click the My Center option, but again, here's the career dashboard. And again, I can click this resume section. There are my resumes, my letters. Again, if I'd done any save searches, save jobs, in which case I didn't save any. But yeah, so then saved occupations, and here are some of the recommended resources that I take. But yeah, so again, My Center's option. So again, go to your name, go to My Center, and again, if you see this, all you again need to go down to is the career dashboard. In which case, so those links should work. This one worked correctly this time. Is you'll click resumes, and then you'll take you into your resumes or to your letters. Again, you can expand or collapse any of these sections by clicking on them, although I think you can only have one open at a time. So again, just a little quick thing here, and with that, we'll move on to show you ways of getting your resume reviewed. All right. So yeah, please keep watching. Now, unfortunately, we're coming up on the final bit, which is good because we're almost coming up on 8:30, which is again is going back to Homework Help Illinois or tutor.com. And I'm going to again click here to access. And here's where you're getting prompted to type in your library card number, in which case I'm going to pause my share for just a moment so I can put in my library card, so no peeking. Click submit. Now I'm going to resume my share. Now, when I first get here, though, I now will need to create an account just like you did with Job and Career Accelerator. I'm going to click sign in. I'm going to log in with my username, which is my email, and I'm going to put in my password. And this time it worked first time, thank goodness. If I want to connect to a job coach, you're actually going to choose this first option, which is connect with a tutor now. And when I go here, it's going to say, what do you need help with today? And under topic, I'm actually going to go all the way down to the bottom of this topic list, and I'm going to choose job help. I'm actually not going to connect with a tutor, but I'm actually going to say what you could do though. What I'm going to need to connect with a career coach. Maybe I need help finding a job, applying for a job online, writing a cover letter, writing a resume, preparing for an interview, unemployment assistance. Maybe I'm interested in finding a job. I can say, what's my grade? I'm an adult. You can do chat only. You might even be able to use chat and voice. If you want to actually physically speak to this person, you can, or verbally speak to this person, you can. You can even type in your question and you can connect with a tutor. Again, I'm not going to do that for the sake of this demonstration, but the idea is there. I can even attach a file if I wanted to. I can maybe attach my resume and maybe they could look at it ad hoc, or my cover letter, or I could also put in the job position. Again, this is a good way to connect with a career coach. For any Spanish speaking people that in the audience, or if you know Spanish, there is a Spanish option here in the top right here. Also, if you look here on the right, they do offer webinars focused on job seekers, which is this bottom one here. You can click on that and view their recorded video tutorials, or even any live ones for how to connect with a career coach, or how to work on your job, ways to help you with your job seeking. Now, I said earlier, though, you can also submit a resume and a cover letter for review and get turnaround on it. That's where this submit a paper for review section comes into play. When I click that, I'm now saying, what kind of help do you need? And by default, this is kind of nice, resume and cover letter review is already selected. And you can say, what would you like your tutor to review? In which case, you can only do one thing at a time. You want them to review your resume, and you can say what your position, what your current status is. In which case, a career changer. I can copy the monster.com listing, the actual URL. I'm just saying monster.com here for demonstration purposes. And I can then upload my resume, which I downloaded off of Job and Career Accelerator. I saved it to my computer, and now I can, or maybe even your phone, if your phone can do this, although this might be a little bit clunky on your phone. I can then choose my file and I can upload it. And then I can click submit. And as it says here, sorry, I forgot how long the turnaround time was. This is 12 hours. You can get your turnaround time for a 12-hour review. You'll get it within 12 hours, which is really good considering, some of these positions, they may be gone soon after you find them. Well, there's a 12-hour turnaround time. What happens though is you submit this, and then what happens is you go back to submit a paper for review, and now you can then upload your cover letter, which you've also written and then downloaded, and then upload that as well. You can click submit. You may not necessarily get the same career coach looking at both your resume and your cover letter, but at least you'll have both of them submitted, and you'll get turnaround time within 12 hours. And again, they will give you advice on your resume and your cover letter, which you can either take that, like with anything I've said today, you can either take it or you can leave it, but at least you've had it reviewed by somebody who's been vetted by tutor.com, who has experience in career coaching. And then again, there's other tools here as well, but those are really the big ones. Is connect with a tutor, which again, you can connect with a job coach, or you can submit your paper for review and connect with again, you can submit your cover letter and your resume for review. And again, I really like that they have you try and post what the position listing is, because as I said multiple times, you really want to tailor your resume, your cover letter to the position. Again, they're not going to edit your cover letter or your resume and give it back to you. They're just going to say, well, based on what I've read in your resume and your cover letter, here are some things that I might suggest you either change or consider as you're doing these things. But again, this is free. This is available electronically. You're not going to have to come to the library in order to, again, submit your cover letter and resume for review electronically. But let's say that you do want to connect with a local organization in person, let's say that you want to connect with. I have 3 recommendations for you. The first one is an organization called WorkNet DuPage. They're down in the northern edge of Naperville, although they're technically in Lisle. They're in Lisle. They're in the southern edge of Lisle, northern edge of Naperville. WorkNet DuPage, we have some of their flyers. They do a lot of good stuff here. They offer opportunities for you to get free career coaching and free maybe even some money to build your skill set, depending on what it is that you want to do. They've even got, here we go, this is a good one. Back to School, Back to Work supports parents in a career transition. Maybe you took time off to raise your kids and now you want to go back to work. Well, there's some resources here for that. They also provide email addresses. If you put in your resume, boy, it's just getting everything wrong. You put in your email address here and you can get a subscribers only access to compiled list of new job postings, which are shared directly with them from an HR company executive in DuPage. I have this as well, but that's only because I'm part of a larger group. But they'll email you, I believe it's like weekly or whatever, and they'll also receive updates on the workshops that they're doing. And here are some of their upcoming workshops, which are free for you to attend, although you do have to get started. They'll click the get started thing and create your account with them. Again, they're a partner of the library, but we're not directly affiliated with them. Let's Talk Job Search. This is their networking group. They meet regularly. I think I attended one of their sessions just to see how it went. Here's a good one. Free, open to the public is Interview Practice. They offer interview practice in person, open to the public to practice your interviews. Also offer even computer tutorials as well, which are open to the public. Become more confident on computers. Going along. This is really the big one. They offer walk-in resume reviews. They offer them, I want to say, the final Monday of every month. So they offer them 12 times a year. There are 12 half-hour openings with reviews conducted on a first-come, first-served basis. And you sign at 8:30 a.m. with reviews starting at 9 a.m. Not that you have to go in that early, but they offer like 12 half-hour openings, which is 6 hours, I think, of resume reviews. Bring a printed copy of your resume, and again, really good with a job lead, which I'm pretty sure is referring to the posting. But you can see the next session is here at the end of the month on January 29th, and it says what you get. You can get free resume reviews, and in this case, you don't need to be a WorkNet DuPage client to come in for a free resume review. Although again, if you sign up for them, I don't believe they charge you for anything, but I could be misremembering that. But here we go to their job seekers section, and it says what they offer. They offer job boards, career counseling, job search workshops, even potentially you could receive up to $10,000 for getting new skills or certifications. And although we have this as well, get free access to computers, Wi-Fi, copiers, and printers, and reservable huddle rooms. But again, this is a really good resource for you to use. Again, this is WorkNet DuPage. Moving on to the next group is a place that's a little bit closer to us, is the People's Resource Center down in Wheaton. You do have to become a member of the People's Resource Center, but again, this is free. I've actually been to their location, like I've been to the WorkNet DuPage location, organization. But you can click this about. Now they do offer food pantries and so I think they used to have like a clothing drop off. I don't know if that's still a thing anymore. After COVID, I know the food pantry is always around, but we can click this services option. They've also got computer training as well. What's nice about this is they're the ones who are actually doing our current computer training here at the library. Although I don't know if the session is already full or not, but they were doing like a multi-week class on basic computers here at the library. But what we really want to go down to though is, I guess here's their close closet. I really hope that's still going on. But what we're looking for though is this job assistance section. And when you click on that, it says, it shows how to get started. You can basically, it says, well, what do they do first of all? So our neighbors seek to build and improve employment skills. The People's Resource Center, again, down in Wheaton, they're just south of the train tracks, helps unemployed or underemployed people in our community find jobs through mentoring and workshops focused on interview preparation. And they connect our job seeking clients with their own volunteer job coach to help you build your skills, help with resume and interview preparation, and plan for job searches. Of course, they partner with area libraries. I'll hopefully start partnering with them again in the future. They did a program for us right before we started our renovation or a remodel. But anyway, there's just a lot of good stuff here. Again, you can if you'd rather contact the program online, you can fill out their form or email them, but you can also call them. As it says right here, clients attend 2 short orientation sessions to learn about the program, and then you're matched with your own job coach. Which is really good. A 1-to-1 ratio allows each coach to spend as much time as necessary with the client. And again, the coaches have many experience in the job market, accompanied by PRC's training. You can also look at their upcoming job assistance programs. They have online listings as well, but like they're doing some stuff in the area. Like they're doing a bunch of stuff at Wheaton, unsurprisingly. I may have them come out and do something here sometime too. In the future, but you can see they're doing stuff at Wheaton. They're also doing something at Addison as well. Again, some of these are in virtual, some of these are in person, but again, here's just some stuff they're doing, which is in the area. The final organization I'll recommend, and then that'll bring us to our end today, is the Goodwill Workforce Connection Center. They have a variety in the area, but what they do is they offer, the Goodwill Workforce Connection Center provides local companies with the opportunity to meet people with the community who are looking for jobs. What you can do is although in this case that was help for employers, it took me here directly. I'm going to go to help for job seekers. In which case Goodwill Talent Bridge is a full service staffing and job placement agency and is part of Goodwill Industries. If you're an employee looking for a new opportunity, they can help you. They have their workforce connection centers in the area, which are open to anyone in the community. They help you again build your skills and connect, also local companies. There's training as well. You could also they also have offered to careers at Goodwill. There's also Accelerate Chicago, which I guess is about other things as well. Again, you can watch this whole thing, but you can say like looking for career assistance, apply now. And then it talks to you like who to call and stuff like that. But they talk about some companies that have held on-site presentations at their career centers, Spring Speedway, the Brookfield Zoo, Goodwill, REM Staffing, UPS, so on and so forth. Again, another good area to a good place to contact. We may have them come out here and do something as well, maybe even resume reviews. I'm not sure. It's still a work in progress or something that we'll be working on. But again, that was the WorkNet DuPage was the first one. People's Resource Center is the second, and Goodwill Workforce Connection Center is the third. Again, I don't believe any of these places really charge you. You just have to be a member of their organization, which again, to everything I've been told is this is all free. With that, I'll go ahead and sort of stop sharing. Or I'll leave my sharing on. I'll just turn my camera back on. With that, we've come to the end of today's presentation. I'm going to go ahead and actually stop the recording. If you have any questions, you can put it into the chat. But again, like I said, there's a lot of good resources here available with your library card, available 24/7. If you want books, by all means, the book series I'd recommend the most right now is the What Color is Your Parachute book series. They come out every year, and they're all about the current what's the current workforce situation. Tell you more about building your resume and cover letters, applying for jobs. They have an edition that comes out every year. We have some going back a couple of years, but they're a good book. What Color is Your Parachute? But again, we've also got books on how to build your resume, build your cover letters, you name it. But like I said, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here. And again, thanks for coming out here today. As I'm stopping the recording, and I'll say goodbye to people watching the video. So goodbye.